Well, good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Where today I bring to you a recap of the week that was in pro wrestling. So that's this week is going to be Monday Night Raw, NWA Power, no Dynamite, but it's TNA wrestling. So a bit of a mixed bag. Wednesday I actually watched the Ranger game. Same thing is going to happen tonight. Let's go Rangers. So, no SmackDown, no Rampage tonight. Although, maybe I can sneak Rampage in really quick. We'll see. But yeah, we're going to start off this week with Monday Night Raw. We got a little Sami Zayn promo saying that he finds himself in a bit of a situation here with the triple threat for the Intercontinental title. And why did I want it to be a triple threat? I'll explain it to you again. I got two different issues. One's professional with Bronson Reed. One's a bit more personal with Chad Gable. And Chad, you've got an ass kicking coming for a long time. Ever since you suplexed me after I beat you for my title last time. And with Reed, it's nothing personal. It's all professional. He just wants my title. And it's a fight between mind, Gable, body, Reed, and soul. Me, Sammy. And if I were a betting man, I'd put all my money on soul. Because I'm walking out as champion. This brings out Chad Gable in Alpha Academy, with Chad saying, did I hear you right? Did you call me a manipulator? Did I manipulate you into winning that title? No, I helped train you. You know what? My issue is I'm actually too nice. And he then turns to the Academy. Maxine, you should obviously be in the Queen of the Ring, winning that tournament, but you failed. Tozawa, you did 0% damage against Reed last week. And Otis, you proved Sami to be the biggest disappointment by not beating Sami Zayn. And then Sami Zayn pipes up, alright, I've heard enough out of you. This is a question for the Academy. How much longer do you feel like you have to deal with this? I've been in the same situation, and I can tell you all want out. Gable does then like, whoa, buddy. They've already pledged their loyalty to me. And in Saudi Arabia, I don't have to pin you for the title, but I will. I'm not just taking your title, I'm taking your soul. And then Sami chimes in, and that's all well and good, but that's not for another 5 days. We have a match scheduled for tonight, so how about instead of waiting until later, let's get this done right here, right now. Gable gets in the ring, ding 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 ding, and we go right into Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable, non-title. And this was a very, very intense matchup, with each person hitting their big moves. Sami at one point goes for a Blue Thunder Bomb, but that gets blocked by Gable. Gable pretty much suplexes Sami Zayn to the near the outside, like he's got like one arm on the bottom rope, and Chad Gable then takes the ref away. Maxine is right there. She hesitates, hitting Sami, and then Gable sees that, and he's like, oh, what are you doing? Puts him against a different rope, takes the ref away. Then it's Tozawa's turn. Looks like he's going to hit him. He hesitates to. Then Chad Gable walks to Maxine, and Tozawa says, you, get out of here. Pretty much kicking them both out of the match. Sami then gets a Blue Thunder Bomb, only for a 2 count. Then Gable rolls to the outside in front of Otis. They get back in. Sami Zayn goes for a haluva kick that gets blocked right into an ankle lock, which that was impressive. But Sami Zayn gets in the ropes. Gable then tosses Sami Zayn over the top rope to the outside, grabs the ref again, pulls him to the other side of the ring, and that's with Otis, and he's hesitating too. Sami Zayn then gets back in the ring. Looks like he's about to go for a cross body from the top, but then Otis with a big old clothesline to Sami Zayn. Chad Gable with the Chaos Theory for the win. Now, ultimately, I would be saying, oh, why are you pinning a champion this close to the pay-per-view? Personally, I think this is okay because it adds to the story of what's going on between Zayn and Gable. And we'll see something that's going on a little later. Shh. No spoilers yet. So then we get a nice Io Sky vignette in her native language. They do have subtitles, but it's very hard for me to keep up, so sorry about it. We then see Braun Breaker backstage. He's kind of chilling out. He's ready for his next match, which that's going to be an interesting one. Just wait. We then see an Alpha Academy interview backstage. Before anyone can say anything, there's a big bang off screen somewhere. So the interviewer and the cameraman, they leave Alpha Academy in the dust. Go over, you see the entire LWO as they're checking on Cruz del Toro, who has been attacked, seemingly by Carlito. We're probably going to see that a little later. We then see our next match as it's Braun Breakin taking on KO Dixon. KO Dixon is apparently on NXT Level Up. I've never seen that show, so I'm not familiar. Immediately Breaker spears Mr. Dixon, clotheslines him over the top rope, starts at one end of the ring on the outside, runs to the other for another big spear, gets him back in. Refs checking on Mr. Dixon while Braun Breaker is trying to bring the intensity again. And then you have the ref signaling to call off the match. So technically your winner is Braun Breaker. And then we see the ref trying to get KO Dixon up on his feet, get him out of the ring. Braun Breaker then starts running the ropes, hits another spear post-match. And then Braun pushes him to the outside of the ring. Braun Breaker then picks up the ring steps, in which I don't remember the last time I've seen someone do that. I think it might have been Braun Strowman. But apparently officials come out. They get him to put it down. He then goes back under the ring, grabs a chair, and then just hits Dixon with a couple of chair shots, and then leaves. And then KO Dixon gets taken out via the stretcher. This is definitely a good way to reestablish Braun Breaker. Maybe having him as a heel would be a lot better than just having him be the happy to be here babyface. And we're gonna see something. Come back from break. Kale is being loaded up into an ambulance. They leave. And then Adam Pearce walks into Braun Breaker, who says, "What were you thinking out there? What, did you want to kill this man?" And then Braun reveals, "I'm just here to make a point and prove that I'm the best." And that's interesting. We then see Lyra Valkyria. She's in gorilla position right before making her entrance. And then in comes Becky Lynch, who tells Lyra, look, you've come a long way since NXT. It's time for you to go out there and prove you belong. And then they just kind of do a little fired up, you got it, yeah. Kind of like Danny Battle from the Replacements movie. If you've never seen that, give it a look. We then go to our first semi-final match for Queen of the Ring as Lyra Valkyria takes on former women's champion Io Sky. And this match absolutely freaking ruled. Like, this might be my match of the night. Really, really good back and forth. Including at one point, Io going for like a reverse sharpshooter and then trapping the arms as well. That was unique. Near the end, Kairi goes for an over the moonsault. Lyra gets her knees up. Lyra fights back, hitting a power bomb. Lyra goes for a suplex that gets blocked. Io with the power bomb goes for an over the moonsault. Lyra moves out of the way. Lyra trying for a Nightwing that gets blocked into a roll up, in which I guess Lyra countered that. And your winner, Lyra Valkyria, moving on to the finals in Saudi Arabia. So that's going to be interesting. We then get an in-ring post-match Lyra Valkyria interview, in which I appreciate these. It makes me feel like, you know, sporting events when after a big game, the big stars get interviewed. Anyway, before Lyra can answer any questions, Io interrupts, kind of bumps Lyra on the shoulder, and walks off. Then Lyra gets her chance, pretty much saying, look, 3 weeks ago, I would never have dreamt at beating a former women's champion. The deal is, I don't know how I got the job done, but I got it done, and I'm one winner away from winning Queen of the Ring. Then we get R-Truth. He is talking with, it says here NCR. I don't know who. Oh, it's, I don't know, it's some other tag team. Oh, it's, I forget. And the tag team walks off. Truth is like, hey, looking forward to seeing you down the line, boys. Miz comes in. He says, alright, we got a big test ahead of us now. In Judgment Day, what are we going to do? Truth then replies, look, you don't have to worry. I got some backup in Andre the Giant. I'm like, oh. Then Miz brings up, Truth, he's been dead for 30 years. Truth then goes, huh? No, look, I got it. Andre's going to be there. We then get a little Ilya Dragunov interview who says, there's no shame in losing to someone whose nickname is literally Main Event, Jey Uso. And he has to deal with the man who has broken me several times, in Gunther. And before he continue, Ricochet comes in and says, just because you got the best of me in the tournament once doesn't mean this is over. And then you see all of them look off screen. The interviewer and Dragunov move. Ricochet gets hit with a spear from Braun Breaker. Like, it looked like through the wall. And then we get officials checking on Ricochet. We then get a nice little hype video for Jey Uso versus Gunther. That's going to be our main event later. We then get a Gunther promo, and he's in the arena alone, which I don't know. It reminds me too much of the WrestleMania pandemic, and I don't want to deal with that. But he pretty much said, look, Jay, it's plain, it's simple. You're a simple gimmick for simple people, but I was wrong. Jay made something of himself, but I'm in the business of taking hope away. Dang. And then when Jay and I clash in the Raw finals of King of the Ring, it's going to be about who's the best wrestler between the ropes. And in ring, I am superior to you. I'm already General of the Ring, soon to be King of the Ring. Okay. I'm going to say this. Lately, I've been seeing nothing but discourse about Gunther just being a chop and powerbomb guy. Listen to this promo. And I don't mean just hear it, listen to it. And then you'll understand why he's the goddamn best. And easily a future Universal Champion. Yeah, I'm calling that shot now. Anyway, we cut to backstage, where we're in the Judgment Day clubhouse, with Priest talking to JD McDonough and Finn Balor about bringing the tag titles back. And then in comes Carlito. And then Priest acknowledges him, saying, "Look, I heard what you did to Cruz del Toro." Carlito then says, "Look, I had to strike the LWO first. Now I'm just laying low." Priest, then I think it was Dom saying, no, it was Priest saying, I guess I missed the sign in which he was in. So then Carlito says to Priest, Priest says to Carlito, "You're welcome in here this week. However, we're not your personal APA, the Acolyte Protection Agency." And then Priest just walks off. Actually, the Judgment Day walk off, and Carlito says, "We're cool, right?" Carlito is so underrated. We're gonna see something. Then we get Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. They're working out backstage. Then Baszler is like, looky here. Camera pans. It's the return of Sonya Deville. Always great to see her back. And then Sonya asks, "Look, I know you two got a big match coming up tonight, but you guys got a minute? I got a business proposal for you." And then Zoe Stark is like, "We're not interested in what you're trying to sell us. Bye." And they just walk off. I'm going to say this. A stable with Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville, I think could be pretty dang cool. And kind of mix up the dynamic of this team. Because I think this team needs a little something to get them over the edge. We then get to the World Tag Team title match as the Awesome Truth, that's Miz and R-Truth, take on Judgment Day, being represented by Finn Balor and JD McDonough. And this match was pretty much more of the same from Miz and Truth. Miz in there for majority of the match, doing his usual Miz stuff. One point, Finn Balor's in. He goes for a sling blade. Then that brings in JD, who hits a goddamn couple of suplexes. But then Miz and R-Truth fight back. Hits a couple of 5-knuckle shuffles. Then out comes Carlito. He's on the apron. Miz gives him a big old clothesline. And then hits a dive, which that was interesting. And Miz with a roll-up, only for... No, Truth with a roll-up, only for a 2. Hits the lie detector for a 2. JD McDonough rolls outside the ring. Then who comes out? It's Braun Strowman. So that's who Truth was talking about. It wasn't Andre. Thank goodness. Then Strowman chases JD McDonough into the ring. Truth says it's an attitude adjustment to pick up the win for his team. Then we see Truth, Miz, and Braun all embrace in the ring. The match was pretty basic. I was pretty entertained. Gonna be interesting to see what they do with Strowman, because honestly, all I really want to see is Braun Strowman versus Braun Breaker. If that match doesn't happen at some point, I'm gonna be a little pissed. We then see Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria backstage. They celebrate a little bit. Becky Lynch goes into the ring for a promo. Before she could really get started, Liv Morgan comes in. Actually, no, this is all still backstage. Liv Morgan walks in. She says to Lyra, "It's sad to see she doesn't have your back in this week's match like she was last week." Oh, speak of the devil. Becky Lynch walks in, and then Liv slaps Lyra Valkyria and runs off. We then see Sami Zayn. He's backstage. He's getting ready to go home. Bronson Reed walks in. Pretty much says, "Look, you don't have to worry about Gable. I only care about business. And I'm going to use my body as a weapon to get the biggest payday yet." He then walks off. Otis walks in. Sami Zayn is like, "Oh, it's you. You know, out there, I expected that from Gable, but not from you." Otis then says, "I'm sorry. I really am." Sami Zayn then goes, "I know you are, Otis. You're a good guy. Chad isn't. And I've been in your shoes before. Listen to the people, Otis. It'll be better that way." And then Sami Zayn walks off with Otis pondering. And this is what I love about Triple H's WWE. We get references to things that happened in the past instead of just ignoring it. Like Sami Zayn's time in the Bloodline, he was being manipulated. He was being forced to do stuff he really didn't want to do. Otis is being put through the same thing. And it's a great story. I love this. This is going to be awesome when we finally see Otis turn on Chad Gable. And then Chad Gable recruit the Creed brothers. Because they need something. Anyway, that's getting ahead of ourselves. We then get a Becky Lynch promo saying, you know, in 5 days I'm defending my title against Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan. And Liv and I have lots of history together, but we never faced each other one-on-one. Now, obviously, I'm dealing with a different Liv Morgan. She's out from revenge. Does she have what it takes to beat me? Before Becky can continue, Liv Morgan comes out saying, "The way you're gaslighting the WWE Universe is making me sick. I'm the best..." Stop it. I'm bad. DC. What the heck is DC? "I leave none of my business. All I care about is my purpose. The Liv Morgan Revenge Tour." Becky Lynch replies, "I've known my purpose ever since I started. I wanted to change the game. My purpose remains the same, that I leave WWE in a better place than I found it." Liv then replies, "Oh, that's so delusional of you. If that's what you think, you're the most selfish person in the company, and you only care about yourself. And thank you for making tonight not just about you. And after King and Queen of the Ring, I'm going to sit where I belong, at the top of the hill, as women's champion." Becky Lynch then replies, "These people obviously know you're lying. I do everything for them. We are all here. And I'm looking for a fight. So why don't you come down here, put your money where your mouth is. Liv starts to walk down. She's on the apron. And then she comes down, waves at Becky Lynch for a minute, gets back on the mic. I'm going to do the smart thing and wait. See you Saturday, Becky. So, I'm going to say this as a critique. This has sounded like the last few promos these two have shared, and nothing really seems to be moving forward with them. I don't know. It's something I need to nitpick a little bit. But overall, I feel like we need to move on from this Liv Becky Lynch thing. So then we get Judgment Day in the back. They're licking their wounds. Priest comes in, pretty much says, "Can someone tell me what happened out there?" Then JD talks about Carlito, saying, "I warned him about this." Priest then says, "Alright, obviously we got a Strowman problem, so JD, we're going to go talk to Pierce, and you're going to get a match with Strowman." And then Balor chimes in, "I don't even recognize us anymore." Priest is then like, "I agree, something's got to change," and then walks off. So, I don't really know what's going to be happening with Judgment Day. They've been teasing breaking up since before WrestleMania. So, I don't know. Maybe we see a fracturing of Judgment Day. Maybe we see Dom and Liv as a thing apart from Judgment Day. Maybe we see Balor and JD take up the tag team. And maybe we see Priest go solo for a bit. I don't know. I feel like Judgment Day has run their purpose. So, we'll see what happens. Next up is a number 1 contenders match for the women's tag team titles. We have Damage Control, in which it's Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai. Always good to see Kai in the ring. Get well soon, Asuka. We got Maxine Dupri and Ivy Nile, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. And I am more than surprised this match got a whole lot of time. Pretty much everyone got their stuff in, including Maxine with a reverse caterpillar. And I'm going to say this. Maxine, in this one match alone, has gotten way better at her craft. Like, it's great to see. Eventually, with a kick and a big knee strike, your winners, Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. And, yeah, we'll see where Sonya Deville fits into this. Interesting match, maybe not all that meaningful, but I'm glad that the women's tag team division is getting a little bit more spotlight. Next up, we got a Ludwig Kaiser interview backstage. Saying that I've been a supporter of Gunther for years, and I take a note from Sheamus, who has been nothing but a keyboard warrior. And Sheamus, you got 2 options. You can stay home, be with your family, and be healthy, or come back for Kaiser to put you down. Kaiser versus Sheamus. Honestly, that should be a very underrated match. Then in walks Drew McIntyre, saying Adam didn't want his biggest star here. Priest, though, he's got what's mine. And while everyone's playing tiddlywinks, I'm playing chess. And now I'm going to stop. I'm going to focus up on the World Heavyweight title. And soon, I'm going to beat you too. So, yeah, definitely some fighting words from Drew McIntyre. refocusing on the world title and potentially CM Punk. We go somewhere else backstage. We see Chad Gable talking with the Creed brothers. So that's interesting. Otis comes in. Chad Gable pretty much says to the Creeds, look, think about what we've been talking about. So, Chad Gable has a plan with the Creeds. He's then said, Otis then tells Chad Gable, I want to go to apologize to Sammy. And then before Chad Gable could, verbally trounce him, Chad Gable's like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're softening up Sami Zayn mentally, so he's not ready for King and Queen of the Ring. So you're ready for Saudi Arabia, right? We're going to win the title, right? Together, right? And Otis kind of, right. And then Gable gets right into Otis's face. I want to hear you say it. Say it! No matter what. Oh, this manipulation. It's so good. I can't wait to see what's next with this feud. Then we get a Jey Uso backstage promo saying, look, there's no tomorrow. It's me versus Gunther tonight. We got some unfinished business, and I'm going to catch the crown. We then go to our main event of the evening, and it's the King of the Ring semi-final match for Raw. As main event, Jey Uso takes on the Ring General Gunther. And if y'all remember, I loved their Intercontinental title match. I think this match tops it. Like, this match was absolutely great. It was nice and back and forth. Did stuff on the outside of the ring. Jey Uso unleashing the super kick barrage. Eventually, Gunther catches it into a big knee strike. Gunther tries to hit the sleeper. Jey Uso counters it into a roll-up for a 2 count. Gunther with a gigantic boot into a suplex. Hits a big old splash from the top rope, in which you don't see that every day, but only for a 2 count. Jey Uso fights back. They completely just chop city each other. Then Jey Uso goes for a spear. Gunther steps out of the way. Jey kind of stops right in front of the ref in the corner. Then Gunther with a low blow. Into the hammer and anvil. Into the sleeper hold. For the submission win for Gunther, who is going to Saudi Arabia for the King of the Ring finals. So the Raw side is set for the King of the Ring. We'll see what we have for SmackDown, which, honestly, I'm going to say this. I thought Jey Uso was going to win this, and then we'd see Tama Tonga win on the SmackDown side, and we'd get an all-bloodline final, which I wouldn't have been mad at. But honestly, more than happy it's Gunther. He was my original pick. For SmackDown, I think we gotta go Randy Orton. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Tama Tonga enough. For one, he's a heel. We already got one heel in the finals. So, Randy Orton just makes sense to me. So, that was Monday Night Raw. A really, really good episode. We now move on to NWA Power, where we start off with a nice little vignette, hype video for the Crockett Cup, which is starting this episode. However, before we get to the events for the Crockett Cup, we get women's tag team action in which they bring up a women's version of the Crockett Cup, which I wouldn't say no to, as Tiffany Nieves teams up with Reka Takada, I hope I am saying that right, to take on La Rosa Negra and Ruthie J. These teams did have a match at Hard Times. No, it was before Hard Times. I forget what it was for. In which Ruthie J and La Rosa Negra won. This match was absolutely great, with Tiffany tagging out almost immediately to Reka, who honestly put on a really, really good showing. Of trying to avoid Ruthie J, who has been her rival for a while now. Lots of really good back and forth, including a cross jacket from Reka Takada, in which Ruthie J breaks out. Big old spinebuster from Reka Takada. That was impressive, but only for a 2 count. La Rosa Negra's up on the top rope. She's going for the cookie splash. Tiffany Nieves pushes her from the top rope. And via the roll-up, your winners, Reka Takada and Tiffany Nieves. Honestly, this match was a whole lot of fun. And now these two teams are one up on each other. Maybe we'll see a rubber match somewhere down the line. Next up, we got 2 big groups together for one interview as the Southern Six and Pretty Empowered are in the ring getting an interview, with pretty much Thrillbilly Silas Mason taking the lead, saying the Southern Six are known for smashing heads. We're going to win the Cup this year. We've been up and down the card all year. What haven't we done? And for the Crockett Cup, it's going to be class versus no class. And we're going to be putting some class on the cup. Then we turn to Pretty Empowered, in which it's revealed that Kenzie Page is actually going to be getting in a number 1 contender spot for the women's title. Pretty much with, no, Kenzie Page is the champion. It's Ruthie, I forget who her partner's name is. I'm sorry. So, yeah, we're going to see where this one goes. We then go to a non-title match, as it's Joe Alonzo, the current junior heavyweight champion, taking on a debuting Damian Fenrir. And I'm going to say this, Fenrir put on a heck of a show against the champion. Had pretty much his entire moveset locked in. Eventually, Joe Alonzo, it's a jawbreaker into a Joey special to pick up the win. And then once again, post-match interview, with Joe Alonzo saying, look, I am the GOAT. When you speak, you're annoying me. What am I? And you know who's not? My opponent, Alex Taylor. I'm a top 3 man in NWA. But you gotta rely on your boys. I rely on myself. So, yeah, definitely going to be an interesting match for the junior heavyweight title. We then go to the next round of the Crockett Cup as Daisy Kill and Talos take on the Slime Balls. No, wait, this is an interview. My apologies. With Daisy Kill and Talos pretty much saying, look, we're not happy, we're just stuck with number 5. As we're taking on the Stu Crew, we're going to beat them down. and we're going to move on in the cup to the cup. We then jump to the Slime Balls, who are very excited to make a name for themselves. We're going to prove we're going to hang with the big dogs. And we're going to win the cup. Then we get an NWA around the territories vignette. I kind of dig this with the NWA. Kind of going back to the territories a little bit. If you don't know that, look it up because I do not have the time to explain all that. Then we get a very weird Vampiro promo, although they've all been weird. With him pretty much saying, I've got a meeting in the shadows, gonna talk about the divine feminine, that ultimate power. What will that be? I was here to help you, but you didn't listen. The divine masculine, both are a difference in energy, and then power without energy is not gendered here. You were just plan A. I have a plan B, and I believe more in plan B. And come the Crockett Cup, you can claim your victories. However it ends, it will be me standing in the light. And you thought the sun was the brightest thing. The moon always blocks out the sun. You asked, now it's time to collect. God, that was rambly. I do apologize for that. But it seems like Vampiro has a plan for Natalia Markova. Gonna be interesting to see what happens. Now next up is another first round matchup in the Crockett Cup, as Nox and Murdoch take on the Miserably Faithful. That's Gags the Gimp and Salvation. And now, at first, it looked like a big old squash match for Nox and Murdoch. However, Gags starts fighting back a little bit. But then after a couple of body slams and a power slam, he tags in Sal. Sal starts running house, including a 619. Then Murdoch gets tagged in. He takes over. But then Sal starts fighting back. Tags in Gimps. Gags the Gimp. Hits slight spread, but then Nox with a big old boot into a drop kick. And then Nox and Murdoch hit both Gags and Sal with a couple high lows to pick up the win. So they're moving on in the cup. I'm glad Sal and Gags got some spotlight. This is definitely going to be interesting. Speaking of interesting, out next we have Aaron Stevens, who, before he can start his thought on his promo, out comes Eric Smalls. And Stevens says, between us, go get me a lollipop. Then Eric Smalls with the low blow. Gets the microphone and says, mess with Smalls, you get hit in the balls. That's a great line. I can't wait to see what happens. We then get a Country Gentleman / Stu Crew promo with the Elder Kazana talking for both teams. Saying, you know something, we got JCP in the finals of the Cup. How could that get any better? No. The Office is better. Knows better. As the Samoan Savages have been ranked above us. We're going to have two teams in the final. And we're going to prove that GCP is the number one territory in the NWA in the finals. So, yeah, this team definitely having a plan going forward. And we'll see if that pays off. And we got our main event of the evening. We got Looks That Kill. That's Brian Idol, and for the first time ever, a female competitor in the Crockett Cup, Natalia Markova, taking on Tim Storm and Jax Dane. Always a pleasure to see Tim Storm in the ring. Idol and Dane started off with Dane pretty much overpowering Idol. Then Tim Storm gets tagged in. It's a couple of small moves, including going for a kick, but that misses. Idol with a roll-up, only for a 2. Idol starts fighting back a little bit, gets hit with a nasty-looking clothesline. Tim Storm tries for a body slam, that gets blocked. Idol shoves Storm into the ring post. They get back in the ring. Tim Storm with a big old clothesline, but then Tim Storm kind of crumples to the mat. Dane and a couple of officials come in, checking on Storm. Dane then just starts destroying Brian Idol, who then tags in Markova, hits a couple of beautiful disaster kicks, goes for a DDT, only getting a 1 count, and Tim Storm finally wakes up, gets the claw hold on Markova. Markova reaches the ropes. Ref reaches the 10 count, so your winners by disqualification, the Looks That Kill. Now, post-match, Tim Storm still has the claw hold in. Dane and Idol then try to get Tim Storm off of Markova. Mims is on the outside of the ring. He's kind of talking trash. And out comes Austin Idol, who's arguing with Mims. And Black G's comes out for backup for Mims, which, that's not a bad idea. Then the man who's been on commentary this whole time, William Patrick Corgan, aka the president of the NWA, comes in, tries to break the claw hold. I'm a little sad that ended by DQ, but I understand that may be the story going forward, with the men being frustrated that there's a woman in this match. Although, we'll see what happens. Crockett Cup definitely off to an interesting start, we'll say. So, we'll see where this goes. And Fine Alamo, the last show. It's TNA Wrestling. We start off with the tag team match playa. As the tag team champions representing the system, it's Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers take on Ryan Nemeth, not Nick, Ryan, his little brother, and Broken Matt Hardy. And I'm going to say this. I am very surprised Ryan Nemeth got as much stuff in as he did. One point we had Myers and Edwards going for the backpack stunner elbow drop combination that gets countered. Matt Hardy with a twist of fate. Nemeth with a big old crossbody from the middle rope. And your winners, Ryan Nemeth and Matt Hardy. Post-match, the system attack Hardy and Nemeth. Down the ramp comes Moose, who hits a big spear on Matt Hardy. And as the beatdown continues, including Moose getting a chair, putting the hardcore necktie around Ryan Nemeth, out comes Nick Nemeth to make the save. Goes for a couple of chair shots. Moose and the system roll out of the way. So, yeah, this match itself was way too good to be an opener. Definitely going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. We then go backstage for an interview with the ABC, talking about how families fight, but eventually they do make up after the fight. We gotta work out the feelings and how the wrestlers do this between the ropes. Then Bay asked Austin, do you think this is what's best for the ABC? Then Ace is like, yeah, we gotta get back on the same page. I think this is what's best for us. Then Bay says, I trust you. So, we're getting Ace Austin versus Chris Bay in the future. I think it's going to be next week. I'm not 100% sure. But, that's going to be awesome. Then we see Santino Marella. He was talking to somebody on the phone. In comes Matt Hardy and the Nemeth brothers, saying, Hardy, with you and Ryan beating the system tonight, you now have got a tag team title shot. Matt Hardy's like, look, I appreciate the shot. I've held the TNA tag titles with my brother. I'm here to take on Moose and to finally win the world title. Then Santino replies, alright, well, you guys did beat the system in that 6-man tag. You got a case. You deserve it. So at against all odds, it's going to be Moose versus Matt Hardy for the world title. But that does leave Ryan without a partner. And Nick Nemeth chimes in, look, you didn't think I didn't have your back this whole time, right? While the system is a top-notch tag team, we're going to be a top-notch tag team champion. So the Nemeths versus the system at against all odds for the tag titles. Gonna be interesting. Like, I don't know if the Nemeths have ever tagged together. They might have on some, like, smaller independent shows. But I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup. Speaking of, we got tag team action players as the Rascals, that's Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel, take on a relative new tag team to the TNA scene, not to the wrestling scene. It's Sinner and Saint. That's, I don't know their full names, but it's like Travis and Icarus. And I'm going to say this, Sinner and Saint, they brought it to the Rascals. This was a really, really good matchup between these two young teams. Very, very good back and forth until eventually Wentz gets in, hits a double stomp from the top for the win for the Rascals. And as they're celebrating, down comes Macklin and attacks the Rascals from behind. Shut it. And then hits a double crosshairs to the Rascals in the corner. Then Macklin goes backstage. He gets pretty much bombarded by the interviewer with Macklin saying, look, this was my way of ending this. If that message isn't clear enough, my eyes have now been focused on Santana. In which this brings in Mike Santana, who says, here we are. How about this? Next week, we finish this thing. So, we're getting Santana versus Macklin next week. That should be a banger. Then we have something very, very weird. As Frankie Kazarian is in the face of the ring announcer about some discrepancy or whatever. So then security comes out. They break it up. Cass then goes up the ramp. He has a microphone. Pretty much says, King of TNA is leaving the building. So he leaves. Out comes Cody Deaner for a promo. Starting off, I don't know what the heck this guy's problem was, but I've got an issue on my own. I want my cousin Jake to come out here. Jake something comes out with Cody saying, last week you just absolutely destroyed me, and while that was happening, I had one thing on my mind. I've deserved it. I've had that receipt coming from a long time. And obviously this is family issues. I don't want to fight you, Jake. I want to fight with you. It's what these people want. Cody Deaner then extends his hand. Looks like Jake something is a bit split. Then out comes the Good Hands, who pretty much says, the difference between you guys and us, we don't give a crap what these people think. Jake something that's on the mic saying, this doesn't concern you two. I don't need anyone to speak for me. Then the Good Hands make fun of his accent, I guess. And then Jake something just absolutely destroys them. Beatdown is going on between the two teams. Out comes Santino Marella, who says, not sure where you think you are, but you all are acting like some of our guns. I love that. And I'm director of authority here, so I'm going to make this match a Kentucky Fight Club match. Now, what? I don't know. So that leads into this match as the Good Hands take on Deaner and something. And yeah, this match, while a little bit shorter than the other ones, this match was really, really good. You had Cody Deaner absolutely bringing it. And the Good Hands, seeing them evolve not only as characters, but as wrestlers, is absolutely awesome. At one point you see double team Bulldog by the Good Hands, but Cody Deaner pushes him off, tags in Jake, who goes on a run, running over both Good Hands. Hoek with a middle rope spear. That was interesting. Then Cody Deaner recovers, as does something. Cody Deaner hits an elbow, feeds Hoek to something, who hits an Into the Void for the win. We definitely need to get something for something. Didn't even mean that. Because, it feels like he's kind of, just waiting in the water. I want something a little bit more for him. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing that. Post-match, Deaner once again extends his hand for a handshake. Jake something. They shake hands, and they celebrate the win. So, this is, I hope this is something. Keep doing it. This is something a little bit more for Jake, because he deserves something good. We then go backstage for a Jordynne Grace interview, saying, I may have been on the losing side of the Champions vs. All-Star Challenge match, but I wasn't the one to get pinned. I'm the most dominant champion here, and I'm going to show Marty Bell why nothing can stop the Juggernaut. Then we see the System. They're kind of talking backstage, saying how Moose is going to break every bone in Matt Hardy's body. Edwards and Myers saying how they're going to beat the Nemeths, in which nobody survives. Then in walks a very interesting face. It's Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. In which he reveals, I stepped up in this match. I won. I want my shot. With Eddie pretty much saying, dude, you're a joke. You're nothing but a flash in the pan. We run things here in TNA. How about next week I take you on? So Eddie Edwards versus Joe Hendry should be a really good one. We then go to our next match of the evening, as it's for the Knockouts title, as it's Jordynne Grace versus Marty Bell. However, before the match gets started, out comes the concierge for Ash by Elegance, saying how she's out hurt with a hurt lip. But we have a stand-in standing by, and then some stagehands bring out a mannequin dressed up like Ash by Elegance. So, match starts pretty well off with a big old lockup. They're pretty much going back and forth the entire matchup, with Marty Bell going for Hell's Bells a couple times, Jordynne Grace trying to hit the Juggernaut Driver. Each time they get blocked. Marty Bell hitting the stroke on Jordynne Grace. That was a surprise. Only for a 2 count. Marty once again going for Hell's Bells. That gets countered. Grace tries for a power slam. That gets blocked. Grace with a couple of strikes into a Juggernaut Driver to pick up the win. And as she's celebrating, going up the ramp, who attacks her from behind? It's Allison Kay, Marty Bell's tag team partner in the Hex. So the Hex are back. And then on the ramp, Allison Kay picks up the mannequin, drops it on Jordynne Grace. And that's going to be an interesting little feud. We'll see if Grace gets some help down the line. We then see Santino Marella. He gets on the phone and he calls Jonathan Gresham, saying, "Look, I see the patterns. I see everyone who interacts with you getting sick. I need you to shed some light on this man." And I also called to reveal that next week, your match with Callahan and matches going forward, the ref is going to wear protective gloves and a mask. It's going to be interesting to see where this Gresham thing goes. But this was a much needed character shift for Gresham. We then go to more Knockouts action, as it's Tasha Steele taking on Jody Threat. And this was definitely a fun matchup. Both women using a bit of their speed, but eventually hitting a cutter, your winner, Tasha Steele. So hopefully that means Steele is getting more of a push in the coming months, because I think she deserves it. We then cut to backstage. We at first see some candlelights out of focus, coming into focus. We see PCO, and he's yelling, and Steph DeLander. Steph! He does say something at the end of the promo. I didn't quite catch what it was, though. I do apologize for that. We then get a backstage promo from First Class, saying last week during the Champions Challenge, we were scouting championships. We've obviously made our decision. And as for the beginning of the First Class of Summer, we're going to reveal the title we're going after. You're going to find out next week on Impact. That timing was so good. The trolling also felt really... That was a great, nice, funny little moment. And from what I remember, it's going to be for the digital media title, which, that could be fun. And Fine Alamo, our main event for this week, and it's for the number 1 contendership for the X Division title at Against All Odds, as Trent Seven takes on Speedball Mike Bailey. And oh my god, this match was absolutely perfect. They're going move for move. Bailey goes for a shooting star press. Seven gets his knees up. Seven goes for a moonsault. He misses that. And it's just like back and forth throughout the match. At one point, we see Ali and the Secret Service. They're sitting at ringside now. Trent Seven with a toe snap to Mike Bailey, who doesn't wear shoes in his matches, which is crazy to think about. Trent Seven goes for a 7-star lariat that gets blocked into a Rana. That was absolutely nuts. Trent Seven going for a power slam. No, hits the power slam off of another Rana, only for a 2 count. Trent Seven with a couple of back fists. Hits a 7-star lariat, only for a 2. And then, at first, Bailey stops a dragon suplex, but then that gets hit. Trent Seven with a clothesline over the top rope into a dive. Trent Seven goes for an attack. Mike Bailey ducks it. Trent Seven stops before hitting Ali. And then Mike Bailey with a big boot to Ali. And he's just got the biggest shit-eating grin I've ever seen. They get back on the ring. Mike Bailey goes for an Ultimo Weapon, only for miss. Trent Seven goes for a Burning Hammer, only for it to get blocked. Trent with a 7-star lariat. And then a Burning Hammer on the apron. That looked rough. You then see another try for the 7-star lariat. That whiffs, only for a roll-up for a 2 count. Then Trent hits the 7-star lariat, only for a 2 count. Trent tries for an X-Plex. That gets blocked into a DDT. Couple of superplexes. And then a big old knee drop on the apron. And then as Mike Bailey's going for his finisher, Ali starts going after Bailey, but then it's stopped by his secret security. And out comes Champagne Singh. It's been a while since I've seen him. He knocks Bailey off of the top rope. Trent with the Burning Hammer to pick up the win and become the #1 contender. This was definitely a crazy week for pro wrestling. I was here for it all. Overall, very fun week. I can't wait to see what this coming week has for us. But little notes for you here. Won't be covering Rampage or SmackDown this week, as I got plans tonight. Let's go Rangers. Potentially no Collision tomorrow either, as I might be a little late watching King and Queen of the Ring. Probably watch that instead. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed my coverage this week. And until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Peace.